Today's video, we are coming back with artist submissions. Yes, this is the series where we take your images, your tattoos, and we critique them. If you want a critique like this on a video, then all you need to do is go to Instagram and hashtag your tattoos with ravagerating. Every tattoo that gets rated in this video will have been liked by myself on Instagram, so you know that your tattoo is going to be featured. So without further ado, let's get right into it with the first critique. Hashtag Ravage rating. Fewer than 100 posts. This is not good enough. This is not good enough. Get them in, guys. So since there is fewer than 100 posts, I'm going to start at the bottom with the very first person to use the Ravage rating hashtag, and that is this one right here, and it is by Slated Ink. Straight off the bat, as the old saying goes, I love the saturation that you've got in this particular piece. Now we're just gonna look at this one piece here. Now Slated Ink has actually done a carousel of photos, but for the purpose of this video and this critique, we are gonna go off the first image. So here we have a orc. Are they called orcs from Warcraft? I think they're called orcs. I'm sure they're called orcs. Warcraft. It appears they are called orcs. So what I instantly love about this particular piece is the saturation that you've got in. In black and grey, for me, saturation is everything. You should always saturate your black and grey the way that you would saturate colour. You can use skin breaks, and I use skin breaks, and you know, loads of artists do use skin breaks, but when it comes to just the general sense, saturation for black and grey is like one of the most king things to do, and Slated Ink has really like saturated this piece really well, so well done on that. The hair underneath the chin does start to become a little bit wispy. It's not filled in enough. That hair should be thick, and there should be hair on the underneath. Please remember that I am not using the reference on these, so I don't actually know what you are looking at, and I can only go off what I see. But as that hair starts to come out, it starts to get a little bit wispy, and you can see, like, you know, loads of gaps through it, and to me that doesn't make sense. There'd also be hair on the underneath or clothing on the underneath that you'd be able to see, so I would have put that in if that was me. The direction of the hair is pretty good. You've got some direction coming over from the left, direction going over to the right. You've got the S, you know, you've got the wiggly strands down the center. On the top of the head, above the script, I'm not too, you know, fond on that bit. You could have probably done a little bit more in that area, but overall it's a relatively good portrait, so well done, Slated Ink. Okay, next we will go to, why not, the next one on, which is a Harry Potter tattoo, and this was done by Marshall Tattoo. Okay, so you can tell it's Harry Potter. You know, it's such an iconic image that you can tell it's Harry Potter. So starting with the good points, I love the way you've done the hair on this Harry Potter. I think the way that you've done the hair is really, really cool. I like the, you know, the direction and the wispiness you've got in it, so well done on that. I do have to say that I feel like that your blue in the background isn't packed very solid. It looks a little bit choppy, especially in that lighter blue. I think you can almost see skin coming through if you zoom in, so that needs to be packed in a lot more. You're probably going to need to do a touch up on that, you know, when this tattoo's healed. The face, there's something off about the face. Yes, you can tell that it's Harry Potter, but there's just something off about it. The eye, the left eye, the lips, there's just something not quite right about it. Where you've gone wrong on it, I don't know, because again, I'm not looking at the reference, but there's just something off about it. So that could be something for you to think about when you go back in and touch this bad boy up, if it needs a touching up, or even if you want to touch it up. I don't know. I just want to take this moment to point out that, again, these are tattoo critiques, and I'm not trying to be harsh, to be a douchebag, or, you know, just because I love being harsh. I am being harsh so you improve, so you know what to do. I'm a big believer in not sugarcoating things just for somebody's feelings. So please don't take any of these critiques to heart. Thank you. Let's get back to it. Another thing that I don't actually like is the framing that you've done around the circular framing. Now that does go with the area that you've put it on. I can't tell whether it's a leg or an arm. I think it's a calf. So it does go with, you know, the area that you've tattooed it on, and I'm not saying that, but for me, if this tattoo was to ever carry on and you was to extend into a sleeve, leaving it off like this just makes it a harder time. So I always like to feather off my pieces, and then when it comes to putting another piece next to it, you can blend that piece in a lot easier. But if it's a single hit piece, then fair enough. But Martial tattoo, that's what I would say about that one. Let's give it a like. Boom. Next on the list, we have some good old praying hands and clouds and sun rays, and this is by Ali Chris 333. So this one again is a carousel, but it's a little bit different, so I'm going to search through them all. This is a carousel that shows the process, starting with the line work. So if we look at this first picture here, the line work, your line work needs work. It definitely needs work. Luckily, you know, for the piece, the line work doesn't need to be so solid because it can all be hid. However, the line work does need work, and it is a fundamental of tattooing. So number one, work on your line work. Your shading is very, very dark. Now, dark shading is, you know, it's good. In black and grey, you need to have a certain amount of tone for your tattoo to, you know, stick around. And you've got the darkness in there, and it will lighten off. The darkness is there, but it's just darkness. Your piece lacks a variety of tone. You've pretty much used black and dark, and I feel like you just needed to just vary up that tone, especially in that hand. You're going for realism, and hands aren't that dark. I can see the reference that you've used, because you've obviously put up the image next to the tattoo, but yeah, it's just, if you look how dark your tattoo is to the reference, personally the reference that you've used isn't the best. It's not the best. What I would have done is I would have took some, you know, real praying hands and switched them out and used an actual hand as reference, rather than the reference that you have used. The clouds and the rays are okay, but I definitely would have switched out those hands. But the main thing that honestly pops out to me is the line work and just the variety of tone. Bring in some more tone. You know, you've got a wide range of a grayscale to be using, so use it. The only thing that you don't want to be doing is going too light. But Ali Chris, good effort. Here's another like. Bosh. Next up on the list is DK Wellburn, and they have done this pretty decent eye with mandala style patterning, ornamental patterning around. Honestly, looking at it, it's a pretty solid tattoo, to be fair. If I get zoomed in, the line work around the eye and the triangle is pretty solid. You know, there's a few bits of shake in there. There's a few inconsistencies in your line work, but for the most part, your line work is okay. It's very passable. So the eye in the center, I absolutely love the saturation that you've got in. A lot of artists tend to leave the eye with no tone because they just see the whites of the eye, but the whites of the eye aren't as white as what you first think they are. There is always shadows projected onto the eyes, whether it be coming from right to left or left to right or top or the bottom. There is always shadow on there, and for you to saturate the whites of that eye with a lighter tone is that's a job well done in my book. Again, saturation is good. Dot work looks relatively fine. There's not, I'm not seeing any dots that are blown out or anything like that. Well done, DK Wellburn. This is a very passable tattoo. Have a like. Next, we move on to human error tattoos with this tattoo titled Courage. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have absolutely no idea who this character is. If it is a character or whether you've made it up, I don't know. But first off, line work needs work. Your line work needs quite a bit of work. You can actually see where you've gone over lines and like slightly double lined it a little bit. You can see the shakiness in your lines. You can see where your lines aren't consistent. So your line work definitely needs work. You potentially blown out as well, slightly. It's not a big blowout, but you've potentially slightly blown out. As I can see, there is a darker hue underneath that line. Coming up to the nose, filling in the nose. I think you might have filled this nose in with like a liner or a round shader. Potentially the liner though that you've actually used to line with. I don't know. Let me know. Drop it in the comments. But to me, it looks like you've tried to fill in that nose with a liner and it's not solid enough. You need to be a lot more solid than that. Think about using mags. You don't have to do, everything with a liner. If anything, filling in with a liner is a lot more traumatic because you're just going to be going over and over and over to get into those little gaps that you keep missing. Kind of looks like you might have tried to fill it in with a 3-liner, to be honest. Your shading down the bottom of the belly though is pretty smooth, to be fair. However, your transition over next to the armpit on the left arm and the shading going down to the black on the back, that the transitions, it's not quite there. Same with on the head. You can see around the mouth also you've tried to shade, which could be again with a liner or a round shader, and it's not smooth. You can see every little bit of line that you've put in there. So good effort, human error tattoos. It's not the worst tattoo at all, so well done. So I reckon we've got a few more in us. So next one will be again our friend Marshall Tattoo, coming in with a feather and anklet bracelet thing. Your feather looks absolutely fine. I love the delicacy that you've got in that feather. Your line work on the stem itself that goes through the feather though is it's not very solid, unfortunately. Some lines on the anklet, again, potentially double lined by accident trying to go over the same line. Your lines on the right hand side look pretty solid, but your lines on the left they're just not as clean as what they are on the right, so potentially go back in and touch that up. But the delicacy of the actual feather itself is there's nothing wrong with it at all. One of the big things that I've actually noticed with this tattoo while I'm looking at it and studying it is the drop shadow that you've put on. It's too far away from the bracelet itself. It's making the bracelet look like it's hanging fully off the skin, but if that was the case, it'd be drooping down. It wouldn't just float there. So take this into account when you're doing stuff like this. When it comes to realism, these are the little things that you need to think about. And that drop shadow it's too far away from where the bracelet sits. If it, like I said, if it was that far off the skin, it'd be dropping down. All right, it wouldn't just be floating there. The minute you look, it just looks like it's floating on the skin and not resting on the skin. So take that into account. Next time when you do something like this, bring that drop shadow closer. The further away that shadow is, the more it looks off the skin. All right. But there you go, Marshall. Another tattoo critique. And we will go with one more for this critique video, and that is Art of Sanderson Fine Line Owl Tattoo. Right. Okay. First off, your lines are pretty good. Well done. Yeah, Art of Sanderson. Well done. Those are pretty decent lines. The placement of the tattoo is very good. It fits right on the ditch of that arm or back of that leg, wherever it is, but it fits nicely. Now, although your lining is good, all those lines that you've done in the owls, like, tuftiness underneath, eventually those are all going to merge together. Those lines are far too close together. So that is something that you could possibly pay attention to. As I've said in past videos, I'm okay with doing close details and stuff, but when it comes to a solid tattoo like this, where it needs to be legible and it needs to be readable throughout the entirety of the tattoo's lifetime, those are probably going to merge together. I give that a few years before you start to see any merge on it. So yeah, take that into account. You have got some blue tinting underneath your line on the right hand side of the owl's head, so there's a potential blowout there. Just this slight one under the wings. If you was going for black, make it black. It's not very solid. I personally would have had black in there. If it's just a shade, if it's just a dark shade, then I would have gone for some black in there, real close to the top of the wings, and then start fading that black out, making it, transition well into the darker tone. If it is all black, then you need to, pack in that black and make it a lot more solid. I would love to go through all of these and critique them at face value, but I need more content, so I have to split them up. But the good thing is, every single tattoo that gets done with Ravage rating, I am going to try and critique. So I will like the ones that I have already critiqued. The ones that I haven't liked, I know that they've not been critiqued, so can be used. And if you receive a like, again, you know that it's going to be featured in a video. So it works all around. So if you want to be featured in one of these videos, make sure you use the hashtag ravagerating on Instagram. Again, I just want to reiterate, critiques are meant to, aid as improvement. They are not meant to insult. So please don't take these critiques as an insult. Take them for what they are. Take them knowing that I am doing it on face value. I have nothing other than the tattoo that you present. Nothing. I don't have no reference. I've never seen the tattoos before. I've never seen you before. So yes, take it as you will, but please don't take it as I'm insulting you, because I'm certainly not. I just want you to get better. And you know what? I'm going to promote something that I've never actually promoted on this channel before. If you want to get tattooed by me, there is an email in the YouTube description. Drop me an email. If you want to get tattooed by me, drop me an email. I actually want to get to a point with this YouTube channel where I am earning off this channel and I'm earning off the things that I present on this channel, so I can actually tattoo you guys for free. That's the ideal that I want to be doing. That I am earning enough off this channel to be able to tattoo subscribers for free. So, do not forget to like this video. Do not forget to comment on this video, even if you've not had a critique. Do not forget to potentially share this video out so I can make my dreams of a YouTube channel and you get free tattoos. Everybody wins. But guys, I shall see you all in the next video. Peace.